I left school at 16 and I've been working in sales ever since. I'm 32 years old, which gives me 16 years in sales. Half of my life I've been working in sales. And now after training over 1,000 sales reps, building over 100 sales teams, I'm going to put everything into one video to give you all of my knowledge of 16 years in one video, to go over all the lessons and all the how-tos so you can save yourself all the time that I had to put in to learn. So this is a very easy, digestible video. We're going to explain it all into 10 simple, actionable points that you can put in today to learn all about sales. If you don't know who I am, my name's Usman Kayani, and now previously I've worked at 2 8-figure companies. And now, whilst I build my own 8-figure business, I document and I show my entire journey getting there because I wish someone had done it for me. So this is why I document all of my lessons and teach you everything that I know, saving you the money so you can build your business. Now, the very first thing that you need to know about sales is how to build rapport and how to actually build good relationships, build rapport with people so you can actually persuade them. You know, when I grew up in a environment which was low income, there was high amount of crime. The house that I lived in, because of the neighbors around me, the house got shot at 2 to 3 times simply because of the neighbors and the local crime. The street that I had was the only street, which is called in Sheffield. It's the only street with cameras on the street that the police put in because of this crime was so bad. Now, growing in an environment like that, you tend to think the only way to get ahead is by doing someone wrong. And that's the environment that I grew up in. But what I quickly learned was, when I worked in sales, when I was good to people, I always progressed faster. If you do someone wrong, you might get that one bit ahead, you might get that one step ahead, but in the longer term, your reputation catches up on you. And this is why the single most important thing in sales is building great rapport and reputation. People are going to buy from you the first time, maybe because the product's cheap and they think there's a good deal, but they're only going to ever continue to buy from you when you have a good relationship. So I'm going to put into the first point all about building rapport and keeping a really good reputation. When you build rapport with someone, the first thing that you actually want to make sure you do is you want to ask questions about them. You don't want to tell them about me. You know, I had a bad habit of speaking to people. And every time I would speak to someone, I would talk about myself. But then when I read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, I learned a lot of things I need to do is actually to ask the right questions and get to know people about them. People love talking about themselves. And a big component of building rapport is actually about talking to someone about themselves, what they're working on, what they're doing, and just asking about them. If you go in with the sale, trying to find the problems too early, trying to find the tactics to sell to them too early, people are going to see right through it that you don't genuinely care about them. And the one way that I've managed to progress has always been by networking and building rapport with others. And the way I do that is simply by truly caring about others. So the one thing about your reputation is all linked to how you build rapport with people and how people will see you. Because the way people will see you is how you get branded, and they will tell others about you. And either they'll be sharing good things or bad things. It won't just be, he's okay. If he's an okay type of guy or girl, it's probably a negative. So to blow people away every single time that you meet them, build rapport, care about them, and give a shit about your reputation, because that will massively help you in getting more sales. And every time you meet a prospect, you're going to be able to learn far more about them simply because you shared interest in them. It's way easier to sell to someone if you know a lot about them rather than just talking about yourself. Even I have had a habit in the past of just talking about my company and what I'm doing. But now I just want to know about others. What's your business doing? How are you growing? What do you need? How can we help your business with sales reps, which is a lot of what we do. So we make sure that we ask about the people first to make sure we're finding the right people, which links perfectly to the second point. It's about ethical selling. Now, I used to find this term boring because I'm all about the money. I want to make a lot of money. And I would commonly think ethical selling sounds boring. What does that even mean? Well, the thing about ethical selling is if you are truly matching what you do with the right people, you want to make sure that they actually need the product. They actually have a problem that you fix. By truly selling to people that have your problem, you're going to find that people, again, pass on the reputation. It goes a long way. And they're going to want to buy from you repeatedly. Ethical selling is not just so you can sleep better at night. It's also the way you sell to people will allow you to keep people in your business for longer. Selling to people not just the one time, but for 100 times. Will your current customers buy from you a year from now? I want you to truly ask yourself, because if you've not truly got that down to pat and they're not buying from you a year from now, or you're even doubting if they will continue to buy from you, a lot of the times there's a lot of things in place of like ethical selling. And ethical selling could even be the delivery of your product. It could even be how you run your team and how you manage your team. Every part of you and your values and your core values and your characteristics sits into ethical selling. And ethical selling is all about matching what you do and doing it the right way. Now, for number 3, it's the key component in the sales process. And for any salesperson, you need to know how to gather information properly. Gathering information from a prospect when you are speaking to them is the key component of a sale. If you don't know enough about them, you will not be able to sell to them if you can't establish a problem. Now, an expert can establish probably 3 to 4 problems on a sales call, and someone who's new can barely establish one. Because when you're talking to someone and you ask them all the right questions, who, why, when, what, all the open questions that you need to ask to be able to uncover the problems to sell to someone, you need to make sure that you don't just have one, because you want to add enough meat to the bone that when it gets to the objection handling, there's enough that they need from you, because all those problems have been established. So the one thing that I do is I make sure that I gather enough information. When I worked at Virgin Active and I first started selling there, so this was in 2015, a year before that I was working at a local leisure centre, and I didn't really know truly how to sell. People would come in and I would just pitch the product to them about the membership available. They would say yes or no. And I'd always work out like, why does everyone not say yes? Why are some people saying no? But then when I met a manager at Virgin and I got my first job in a proper sales training environment, and I had sales training for the first time in 2015, which was one of my first sales trainers, Jono. And Jono taught me how to ask questions to find the why. And this is where we linked together Simon Sinek's Golden Circle, start with the why. And I connected how Simon Sinek writes about finding the why, how that actually links to sales, because the way we sell is not just the who and the what, but it's also the deeper reason, the why. And a great example that Simon Sinek uses is Apple do not say, do you want a 12 megapixel camera? This camera is really good because it's 12 megapixels and it has a 5x zoom. What they actually would say is, we believe that our customers want to share the best memories, and we want to be able to share the best memories in the best quality photos possible and videos. So to do that, we've given you a 12 megapixel camera. You see, there's a big difference in explaining the why behind something rather than the what. You never see MasterCard talk about 3%, their interest rates of 3% or 4% or their processing fees. What they do say is, we believe in freedom and accessing your money anywhere you are in the world. Again, within sales and marketing, we always talk about the why. And you can only truly find the why if you are doing the information gathering properly. So that is one of the most important components on the first part. And also, when you get to the objection handling, which we'll be covering later on this video, you're going to find out that you can handle objections with so much more ease because you know everything about them. If you know all their life and their problems and their struggles, it's way easier to objection handle and to be able to do that with them. But step number 4 is about setting the agenda. First thing that you would do on a sales call is always introduce yourself and set the agenda, or how we call it, framing the call. The reason why we set the agenda or frame the call is prospects come onto the call wanting the price. They've just come onto the call and they're thinking, how fast can I get onto the price? Even myself, like recently, we were looking for a new ad agency and I called up and I just wanted the price. I was like, how much does it cost to work with these guys? And he gave it to me. He gave me the price within 30 seconds of the call. I said, just wondering how much it is. And then what happened was, his price was $15,000 to run our ads for X amount of months. And for that investment, I didn't really know what I was getting. So there was no context, but I thought, right, that's 15K. But when I spoke to the next person, his price was also 15K for, let's say, 3 to 4 months to run our ads. And what he said was, well, what we're going to do is we're going to create you over 100 creatives on week 1. We're going to test these many hooks. We're going to test this many pictures and images and videos. And it's also 15K. Now, you see the value difference between the two, simply because he showed me what he's going to do with that money. And this is why it's so important to set the agenda. If we get the price too early, it doesn't actually serve us the right way. A lot of the times we need to know, is that the right product with us, for us, by asking the right questions. So we frame the call by saying, really good to have you on the call. I'm going to be able to go and ask you some questions about your business, about your physique, about your dating, or whatever you're selling. And then what I'll do is work out if we're a good fit. And the reason why I say to work out if we're a good fit is because there's two ways. Linking it back to point number 2 about ethical selling, you don't truly know if you can help someone until you know their problems. So you need to establish their problems first. So you also need to frame the call to say, I'm going to find out everything to see if I can help you, I will work out what we can do with you. Now, that's ethical selling, to work out if their problem doesn't match. But also on the other side, if you say to them, and I'll work out if we're a good fit, it's positioning the call as we'll decide. You're keeping authority really high. By keeping authority as high as possible, you're not going to drop authority. And someone who drops authority says something like, oh, why do you not want to do it? Do you not want to just give us a go? That comes, I'm not going to say begging, but it drops your authority so low, they feel as though they are in control of the call. And now you've got to remember, the only person that's in control of a sales call should be you, because you're the only one who knows what's happening next. The prospect does not know what's coming on the sales call, only you do. So a lot of people tell me they're nervous on sales calls. How can you be nervous if you're the only one who knows what's happening next? The prospect should be the one that's nervous. So this is why I always make sure I set the agenda. So I tell them, put them at ease, let them know what to expect, let them know the price is coming at the end and if we're a good fit. Because it won't be asking for a price if you're trying to work out if they're a good fit. You see, it makes a lot more sense when you do it that way. And now, number 5. So we're halfway through, and if this is something that you enjoy watching and you're getting a lot of tactics from here, what I'd like you to do is subscribe to the video, like, and share with a friend. So if you need to know more about sales, give this page a follow, and we'll be working with you to grow your business through any sales tactics which you can get from free on this channel. And now, step number 5. Your offer and the solution that you provide is the key component in sales, because your offer is make or break. Once you've pitched and you're now saying, we're going to do this to fix this for you. Now, if you use Hormozi's offer book, it's absolutely incredible, because what he added into the book was how to provide scarcity, bonuses, guarantees, pricing, and he breaks down what makes a great offer. So that is a great component of makes a good offer. But what I have added to that is how you also want to be able to pitch the offer, because the offer needs to be so perfect that they'd feel silly saying no, as you'd say. So they should feel like that's too much of a good deal, because it's a money back guarantee, and they've got to do it within a certain amount of times. There's only a similar limited amount of resources or availability for that product or service, and the price is discounted if they say yes today, so they'll get a speed discount as well, as we call it in the business. If you can build an offer that is truly compelling, people will buy. And one of the greatest offers of all time was Domino's, when they said, we'll deliver a pizza within 30 minutes or your money back, or it's free. This is what they said. So Domino's said, we'll deliver a pizza within 30 minutes or it's free. And then what people did was they would order the pizza hoping that they don't come within 30 minutes so they get the pizza for free. And by Domino's putting that offer on, it was one of the best offers ever created, because it truly changed how we order food. Because previously to that, we used to always be wondering, well, I'm hungry for a pizza, but I'm not sure what to get. Maybe I'll get something. And the fact that you knew it's guaranteed to come within 30 minutes would always make you think, you know what, it's only half an hour, let me just order it now. So you'd pay for the speed. And if you think of if it's fast and if you get it at good quality and it tastes great, why would you say no? And this is how, and they gave you a money back guarantee, and they would put urgency on them delivering it within a certain time. So if you can create an offer that is truly compelling, that people can struggle to say no to, the sales that you would make would truly be enhanced. Because no matter how good your sales skills are, if your offer is poor, you're truly going to struggle to convert it. So I always make sure we have an unbelievable offer so people feel silly saying no. And you want to be able to look at your current offer and make sure it's packaged the right way. And I would definitely recommend Hormozi's book, which is $100 million offers, and many other books that you can find on actually building your perfect offer. Number 6 is all about obstacles versus objections. Handling objections can be tough for many people, because it gets to the end of the call and you can get told mainly 3 different objections. There's uncertainty-based objections, aka I'm not sure, not ready, not fully sure if it'll work for me. There's money-based objections, financial objections, which is I'm not sure if I can afford it and budget. And number 3, which is partner, business partner, or spouse. They're the three main objections that you're going to get on a call. Most of the time, your objections of money and partner are smokescreen objections. They don't really need their partner's permission, and they know how much money they got before the call. So we will use those two as smokescreens when they're truly not sure. Now, I can go over a lot of objection handling tactics in our videos. We're going to be uploading a video for objection handling and detailing that with you. But in this one, we're going to cover how to actually handle obstacles instead of objections, and how to not get objections later in the call. And how you would do that is, an obstacle is something that you can avoid, and it stops an objection coming later on. So how you find obstacles is earlier on in the call. If the prospect was to say something a bit about their partner, or they use the word like we, then you would say, hey, is your partner supportive of what you're doing? If they talk about their business partner, you'd say, so who's the decision maker? If your partner, does it need to be present on this call? Or if they've mentioned their budget or how much they've been struggling with money, you can say, hey, are you in a position to invest? If you do this too early, if you do this early enough on the call, you're going to find that people will often not be a lot more open and receptive to actually talking to you about that obstacle. If you wait until the price is given, and when the price is given, it's now an objection. Because when the price is given, the dynamic of the call has now changed to you selling. Before the price was given in the call, it was all consultative, talking, asking questions. The energy shifts after the price is given because now you're trying to close them. And now, as you know, to avoid that feeling of pressure from the prospect where they don't want to agree to just feeling highly pressured, and which links to our ethical way of selling, you want to make sure you get all the obstacles early on. So then that way, there's less objections, if any at all, after the price is given. And it's just the simplest way. So I used to manage a sales team of 4, and I remember the sales team of 4, we would drill objections every single day. What's the objection that you've got? Okay, what would you say next time? What if they say this? What would you say there? And we will drill those objections with the team every single day. So then that way, it just becomes like, it's just like second nature. When someone does mention it to you, you just can simply just give away that, how to handle that obstacle straight away. So it becomes a lot easier, which allows you to do point number 7, which is securing commitment. Now, a lot of people call it a temperature check. I call it securing commitment. And the main reason why is I want to make sure that they are ready to commit to themselves, because the one thing that stops people investing a lot of the times is the belief of investing in themselves. It's not often your program. Think of if you've ever invested in a program, or if you've said no to someone. It wasn't always if their program is right for you. It was, do you believe in yourself to invest in yourself to actually see this program through, or the service or the high ticket course. Now, we work a lot with companies that have a high ticket course or a program or a service, and that's our main core demographic that we work with. And for those people, we want to make sure that they actually have the commitment to it for themselves, and do they actually know that there's a problem. So securing commitment is such a key component, and ways you can do this are simple. You can say, so can I just ask you, if this is fixed, what happens next? I paint the picture of that commitment. I paint the picture of the vacation, of what happens after. And then when they say, well, if we fix this problem, my life would be a lot easier because I'll win back my time and I can hire. Great. How committed are you to getting that done? That's an easy way to get commitment. That's one version. The next version is actually just doing like a temperature check and saying to them, based upon everything that I've shown you so far, how does it all look? And if you say that before you give the price, it allows you to give the price knowing that they're actually more certain about things, which will reduce the chance of an objection, increasing their commitment. So it's a great way to get commitment from them and securing that commitment before the call. So that's the easiest tactic, to get commitment before you even give the price to the product or service. Number 8, cultivating a good environment for sales teams, becoming the right sales leader. Now, the points before this were all around sales tactics. The last 3 are all going to be around sales teams. The sales team tactics that we have are always start with cultivating the right environment with people. Now, if you've got a room full of A, B, and C, so if you look at your current staff, whether you've got 5 staff or 500, and you've got staff who are A-level players, B and C, the C-level players will make the A-level players want to leave. The people who are the most driven for their job do not want to be surrounded by people who are mediocre and average. So if you've got a company with 10 A players and then 2 C players, you're going to find that the A players are not going to stick around for long because it's not a high performance environment. So cultivating the right culture, the key component is that by recognizing and grading your staff. Where are they? What I would often do is I would have all of my sales team in a list and I would grade them with green, amber and red. Green would mean that they're hitting all their KPIs, their scorecards, and they're doing everything right. Amber would mean there's been a few mishaps. They're coming late. They're not really fully engaged, but it's moving in the right direction. Red would be anyone that I think is halfway out the door. And my standard for being halfway out the door is if you're doing a couple of things wrong and they're repeatedly happening again and again, I'm going to mark you as a red in my document. And the reason why I do that is because I can foresee things that are happening in the future. In my sales experience, keeping the culture in your sales team is the key component of actually a successful sales team. And that happens when you keep more A and B players. You're never going to find a sales team where everyone's an A player, because every time you have a lot of A players, naturally someone has to become a B player. If you have a group of men who are all having leadership qualities, men and women, and let's say there's 10 men and women in a room who have great leadership qualities, one of them will just naturally become the leader. So even if you have 10 great leaders, you have the term a leader amongst leaders, and the right people will become the leaders amongst leaders. It's the same way as your staff. Cultivating the right team is all about recognizing who's the leader, who needs reward, who needs lifting up, who needs encouraging, and to be able to do that. Point number 8 is you being the right leader for the sales team. Now, one was about the sales team actually spotting the right leaders, but number 8 is all about you actually being the right leader, you actually knowing what type of person you need to be. And the first way to do that is by doing a clear diagnosis on yourself, on your personality, is by working out what type of leader are you. Now, when I did this test for years ago, I did an insights test at one of my jobs, and I found out I was way more of a consultative leader, which meant I'm not a dictatorship. I wouldn't say, hey, I need you to do this or else. I would be more of, I'm thinking of you doing this task. I think it would help like this. What do you think? And that's just the type of leader I was, very much a consultative, which also helps with sales because I'm a consultative seller. So I always ask for the other's opinion before making my decision. So as a leader, I'd always say, understand what type of leader you are to be able to dictate how you're going to manage people. Because if you don't know your own leadership style, you're going to struggle to connect with people. Because the first step is you knowing your leadership style, then targeting the right people with the right methods and techniques. And that is point number 9, all about you being the right leader for the sales team. And point number 10, I've left till the end because it is something that most people miss out on. And it's all about data and numbers. When you're running your sales team, you want to make sure that you are on it with the numbers, that you know every metric that needs to be known. The reason why I was successful as a sales manager was anytime we had to have a director visit, a sales director, the MD of the company, they would love speaking to me and they would give continuous feedback because they would say to me, hey, how are you doing? And I would give them every stat. Show ratio, appointment show ratio, leads generated, close. I would know the number of not just my team, but I would know all the team members' individual numbers. Because I was monitoring them every single day. Now, you can't hide that. You can't just go and look at all your numbers and KPIs and just remember them and then feel like you know them. If you are looking at them every single day, you will have an amazing pulse on your business. I make sure that I look at every single day. Something that I do, which has helped me a lot, when money has been tight, I would look at my bank account every day. If you can relate to this, if you've overspent on your credit cards or you've spent too much money, you avoid looking at your bank account. You avoid looking at it because you think, I know how it's going to feel when I see that number. Now, what I would do when I would have that feeling is I would look at my account every single day. And the reason why I would do that is I would understand the flow of money. I would feel there's no money that's coming to my account today. I know that I have to make a sale, which puts me in the right mindset that day. So data is one of the biggest components of actually success because you start to measure every single thing. Measure the KPIs, having everyone on clear scorecards, knowing how much money is coming into your business and out of your business. And then the level 10 of this is when we switch to a business from having a growth mindset to an EBITDA mindset. And having an EBITDA mindset is when you start picking away and looking at what can you take away from a business or what can we drop to become more profitable, rather than just looking at just top line revenue. But that all starts with looking at your sales team tactics, looking at your sales team's numbers and how they're performing every single day so you can understand the flow of money. Something that we often do is one of the first things that we do with a sales team when we go into a business is ask them about their current numbers. We speak to the founder or the sales management team or the sales director and we'll say, can you tell us about the sales team's performance? And we will know instantly on the back of that conversation if that leader, that manager knows their numbers, because if they don't, that's our first thing that we work on, is teaching them the numbers they need to measure every single day. So just within that first bit of consultation that we'll do with them, because we input all the numbers that they have from their business, we give them a template, and we get them to tell us everything that they're struggling with and everything that they're doing good with within the first meeting, so we can understand their position of their business, because we are a data-led business. Although we're all about sales and culture and leadership, we are a very data-led business. So we make decisions based upon data, and that's how we show our results to our clients. Now, if you're interested in learning more about sales, give this page a follow. I'd love to bounce some ideas. So if you've got some comments that you want to make and tell us what more you want to see from us, we can make some videos about that. But we make videos all around sales tactics, sales teams, business, operations, leadership. So tell us more what you want to see, and I'll catch you in the next video.